Don't forget, you can reach the latest episode of Potomac Watch anytime. Just ask your smart speaker, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast.
From the opinion pages of the Wall Street Journal, this is Potomac Watch.
Welcome back. Monet, what's your view of this question, the powers that the Labor Secretary has to make rules and regulations like this? One difference between these rules that Alicia is laying out that were under President Obama is we have a different chief executive in charge of the executive branch, who Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer would answer to. On the other hand, Trump is all over the place on some of these policy questions. Remember his promise during the 2024 campaign, no tax on tips on waiters and waitresses and service employees and so forth. And so it is not clear to me that he has a specific view on what the threshold should be for qualifying for overtime or for independent contractors and so forth. And one other thought, Monet, is even if we do get some Republican opposition to this nomination that we haven't seen for past Trump cabinet nominees, is there a possibility, do you think, that support from Democrats could push Chavez DeRemer over the finish line, even if she gets some Republican no votes?
Well, on the first question, I think it's very likely that Lori Chavez DeRemer, if she's confirmed, will have a certain amount of leeway to make choices about these policies. I think that it's almost certain that President Trump does not know the weeds of Labor Department policy and all of the ways that the federal government sets the prevailing wages for contracts and sets thresholds for overtime pay, sets health and safety regulations, for example, in the workplace. And there are many, many questions in which the Labor Secretary is influential. President Trump probably doesn't come into this with very strong views of his own. And so he would be susceptible to his chief labor advisor telling him that this is a direction we want to go. It's going to be politically beneficial. It will help to shore up your support from the unions if we go in a direction that's closer to what Democrats historically would have done on some of these policy questions. And I also think there are fewer of the traditional economic conservatives in the Trump White House and in the Trump administration this time around compared to his first term who would be making the counter case against some of those proposals that Lori Chavez DeRemer might get behind. And frankly, you also have J.D. Vance, who has been very pro-labor in the White House as well, who could be another strong voice advocating for pro-union policies coming out of the Labor Department. In terms of her confirmation prospects, I do think that she will get a lot of Democratic support. In the hearing, you heard Democrats mostly criticizing President Trump for his record on labor in his first term, and they're speaking mostly to their audience, as they tend to do at these confirmation hearings, trying to show their own voters their priorities on unions. But they know that Lori Chavez DeRemer is the closest thing to a Democrat, essentially, on questions of unions and labor rights that they're likely to get under a Trump administration. And I think most of them, certainly many of them, are going to vote for her, in addition with the majority of Republicans, because they are going to get behind Trump's nominee no matter what. So I think the purpose of the hearing is essentially to try to get her on the record about some of these tough questions, in a way, force her to keep her word about not overruling things like right to work and other important issues of that kind, but it's very, very likely that she'll be confirmed, and then we'll have to see what she does.
Thank you, Monet and Alicia. Thank you all for listening. You can email us at pwpodcast@wsj.com. If you like the show, please hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Potomac Watch.